Welcome to another episode of The Profile. My name is Gary Dunn and I'm your host. On this show we typically find out something about our guests that we didn't already know. Thanks to ProCopy, we're able to bring you a bit of an insight, or a snapshot if you like, of some of the more colourful members of the Perth music industry. And tonight on the couch, or I always say chair, is none other than Greg Keamy. And Greg, he's a bit of an entrepreneur, Greg. He has many homes in Langkawi, Singapore, and Perth, of course. And he's back in Perth doing a bit of a musical thing with the Pub Legends. And he's here to have a chat to us tonight. How are you, Greg?
Good, thanks, Gary, and you?
Yeah, excellent, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, most welcome. Happy to be here, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We'll just start off with some questions.
Sure.
Where were you born? Straight into
Perth. Perth, brought up in the country boy.
And what instruments do you play, Greg?
Jack of all, master of none. So I started off as a drummer. The nuns in the local country town, where one of the towns I lived in, taught me piano. Smacked my hands in the keyboard. If you didn't hold your hands like an orange, you know, all of that. Guitar, bass, drums, that sort of thing. But then eventually found out that I had a voice, so things took a bit of a turn there. The way that came about was the little school band we had going. And I was back in year 9 and year 10. We had a little local band. We'd play at the local rec hall and things like that. And I was the drummer. And so then one of the guys was the guitar player. I always wanted to be a guitar player. I'd like to just watch him play guitar. So we'd swap over. And then I taught him a song and he taught me a song and stuff like that. So that was it. And then one day then I had a crack at singing something as well and found, that actually works better than all the rest of them. So suddenly I'm a singer.
Yep. So how did what was the catalyst that at school at that point made you want to play the instruments or become a musician? Was it something that triggered that off, or?
Probably a trip to my first ever concert that I actually saw. Again, in the country. I was in high school in Narrogin in those days, and a mate of mine.
They had concerts in Narrogin?
No. The concert was in Perth, and it was Deep Purple.
Okay.
Right. So it was my first concert. So we've Jeff and I, a mate who became a guitar player in one of the early bands, and we played together back at school. And then we jumped on a midnight train, went to Perth City. We'd country boys in the city. We didn't know too much about this. We were probably year 11, I think. We was like 16.
Parents were
something
cool.
like that. Yeah. Boarding school, all that sort of stuff. We thought we were pretty cool. We'd gone and got ourselves down to the army surplus, got a couple of great coats, we had a couple of guitars hanging on our backs with dressing gown cord, and we caught this train to Perth. Arrived about 5:30 in the morning. Then I knew where the donut shop was, so we could get ourselves some breakfast. And we went down to Supreme Court Gardens and stood in remember the old Shell in Supreme Court Gardens? That's gone now, but the old Shell. And we entertained a couple of homeless guys sitting on the Shell there for a little while. Then as the day progressed, we wandered across the Beatty Park where Deep Purple concert was, and went there, and we were ready and standing in the queue and realised we didn't have our tickets. We'd left the tickets at home or lost them on a train or something, no tickets. So we ended up on somebody's shoulders and we climbed in through the toilet window and got in and saw Deep Purple. And that's what triggered the whole thing for me. We're into music anyway, but to actually see something like that and hear something like that, that big, loud, big, brassy, fat sound was just amazing. You know?
And those days getting in through the bathroom, and
I could do it very easily, mate. I could do it very easily, slip in there and out. Now, the paddock's been a bit too kind to me these days. Yes.
Okay, that was obviously the first concert you went to?
Yeah, that was the first one. That was, as Deep Purple were doing, was pushing the Machine Head album, so you had Smoke on the Water and Sweet Child in Time, those sorts of beautiful stuff. So, inspired from there.
What was the last concert you went to?
Akadaka. Subi Oval.
Yep.
The most recent one.
And what did you think of that?
That was sensational. That was great. We had a good spot there. And I've got to tell you, the one just prior to that was, a couple of years prior to that, was Kiss. When they last did their, one of their reunion tours and farewell tours, I've done a heap of them. And it was over at the Dome. And I took my eldest boy, who was 14. And he's into doof. And I said, mate, I need to teach him about rock and roll.
Yes.
So I've taken him to the Kiss concert. So we're sitting there in the wings, and we're watching and waiting. There's a hum and the crowd's all there. And then the blacks kind of part and the lights go down, and he's just heard this almighty thump. And it's gone woof and hit him right then. He's looked at me and gone, Dad, what was that? You know, look, it's just the bass drum, mate. They're just warming up. You haven't heard anything yet. And it just took off from there. So it was sensational.
Yeah,
good memories, that one.
That's a fantastic story, that.
Good memory.
Yeah. And, I mean, obviously, we've been doing the Pub Legends thing.
We have.
You came along and guest starred the other night.
I did.
And I saw you brought your kids with you. And
yeah, I did.
What was the experience like for them to actually be in a sticky, carpeted pub with a lot of old people from the 80s?
They loved it. They loved it because they've seen clips and they've heard stuff and they've grown up with me with my business, television, radio and stuff anyway. So they're aware that sort of, Dad's on the box a bit and all that sort of thing. But to actually see Dad up there, singing with a microphone in hand, and the vibe in the room, the smoke machines, the smell of all of that, and the roar of the crowd going nuts, and
rock and roll,
and the noise, the volume of it, and the thump. They loved it. Really
exhilarating, isn't it? Yeah, we had a great time. It was fantastic.
Great night.
So, what was the first single you bought?
The first single I bought was, I was in grade 7. I was in Cookeran, and I bought a thing called Snoopy versus the Red Baron.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the band, but it was Snoopy versus the Red Baron, and it was just a little song about the Red Baron, as in the aeroplane Red Baron.
Yeah. I wonder who the musicians were who played on that one.
No idea.
No idea. Neither have I.
No idea.
So what was the first album you bought?
Never bought an album.
Never bought an album?
Never bought an album in my life.
CD?
No. Could never afford an album, right? You had to buy the little ones. You've got an EP was a bit more expensive, but I remember that first record was $1.10.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
you can't even buy them now.
No.
So, well, you can, but they're probably about $10 now. So, the earliest influence of your career being a musician, would that have been Deep Purple, or was it something else?
No, earlier Beatles. Had to be Beatles. Grade 4, grade 5. Back in those days, the local garages in town, I remember, had all a bit like baseball cards. They had these posters and they signed, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and you kind of, being in a country town, you didn't really know who these guys were, but then you heard, She Loves You, yeah, and that sort of stuff, and like, wow, and that was the go. Yeah. Then from then on, after that was a bit of a jump to being around 13 years old, 14. Then it was Steppenwolf, Magic Carburetor, or who are the other ones then? The Animals, that sort of stuff. Then Purple came along and Zeppelin came along after that, and it was those sort of influences.
So, Greg, in the 80s and all the big bands we were in, the pubs were full. Ice were the first band to go to stereo, Ice and stereo, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you tell us a bit how that came about?
Our sound engineer, Steve Ramm, he was an amazing guy, well ahead of his time. He set up the whole thing. We went up with this double Jan system. He went to Cosmic and he spoke to the guys out there and had it all sorted. And then he said, we're going to play in stereo. So for the first time, the public in Perth could actually hear the drum kit going and going across the room, and they could position the guys on stage, the bass players there, and that keyboard's coming from there, and that keyboard's coming from there, and you could spread the whole sound. So the stereo thing went great.
That would have been nice if you were exactly in the middle. Didn't it expand from stereo for the people that weren't in the middle?
It did. It went to quad for a short time. It wasn't terribly long, but quad, we ended up having the, I think it was correct me if I'm wrong, but a double 4-way, and I remember we had like 2 W bins on the bottom, about 445 60s per side, 90-degree horns, and then the tweeters and bullets. That's right, bullets. That's what they're called. And then there was another, a smaller stack on each rear corner as well. So the whole sound was a thing. So we were into it. The band was into, it was a 6-piece band. We were into our harmonies, we were into our playing, and we were into delivering a show, but also into being. Hopefully, we kind of aspired to be the musician's musician. We're kind of hoping that the other guys in town, when they had a bit of time off, they'd want to come and see us. We've got to set that benchmark for ourselves. Yeah.
People talk about that signature move of yours, where you actually spin right around.
And it comes back and goes straight down the barrel.
Was that
one?
Yeah, that one. That was just. Can you do it again? Can you do it for us? Or
I've just done it. Yeah. That's it. That's, We're there.
Well, it sort of went with the quad thing, didn't it?
It did.
Look, okay, so back in the 80s, you also had a massive boat parked in the Swan River, talking about the Swan River, is that? How does that story go?
Yeah. Well, that's my passion. You know, some people play golf, and I was into boats. Always, you know, growing up in the country in the wheat belt where it's hot and dry. Then, then moved to the city when I was like 17, 18 to go to university. And then paid my way through uni by playing rock and roll and stuff. So it was all about the water. You know, going to Rottnest and going on the river and having a ski. You know. And so I bought I went to the boat auctions. I mean, it was never always massive. My first boat was a little 16-foot runabout. I went to the boat auctions in Osborne Park, and they had a shed there with all these boats lined up, and you're not allowed to start anything or test drive anything, but you could have a go. But it was $2,000, so I bought this boat, $2,000. It was a big ask for me then. Yeah. And so $2,000, bought this little boat and learnt about the Swan River and how to get to Rottnest and back again, and Garden Island and all of that by hitting everything on the way there, you know.
You had a passion for cars as well. Is it true you once bought a green Jag because you couldn't decide between the red and the green one or something, and then you bought both of them?
The red, the green and the yellow, and I bought the green one. The British Racing Green, I decided, yeah.
So, you know, you started an advertising company, or you're an executive of that or founder. How did all that come about? Because I know you had big contracts with Toyota and Coca-Cola. And
Had the short story is I paid my way through uni because those days you had to pay. I paid my way through uni by playing rock and roll bands. So I had a little duo going. When I left school, that guy Jeff went to the Deep Purple concert with me. We had a little duo going. We used to play at the Cot Hotel at the OBH and little spots like that. Turned into other things, and then John Kellett came along. John's around, a drummer. You know John, and he was at school with us in Narrogin. Actually, he's a year older than us. Wow. And then we all ended up in Perth and Teachers College and university, and all that was going on. So we ended up putting a band together. And that was Ramm. R-A-M-M, Ramm. So we had this little truck, the Ramm van, and away we went, and we played Carrinup Tavern and places like that as the early days of rock and roll. But the big bands then were Chalice, you know, and bands like that.
George Heathcote.
Really, really, really big guys that we kind of aspired to. And Fatty Lumpkin was cooking away then as well, and Bitch and those things. So you'd go to the White Sands and you'd see them play. And when I was at uni, Fatty Lumpkin would come out and do the student things and all that. So you know, that was a good. So it was Ramm was first, and then it evolved into Spilt Milk, which was the DeMasi brothers.
I think I saw you at the Kudo Hotel wearing white.
Yeah. That was very much a disco band in the disco time. So yes, it was white satin with the long collars and the zip that only came to about here. And
I'm not going to tell you what I mean, the band was a great band, but I'm not going to tell you what I thought when I saw it. But so after Spilt Milk and
then another duo, and then Ice came along after that, you know, and I was I'm trying to think. I was teaching by that stage, and I'd finished university, and I did a couple of years then in Harvey as a high school teacher. Then I came back up to Perth at Willetton High, and got a bunch of great kids out of there who I still am in contact with, and really good guys. Used to come to the Raft and watch us play and all that sort of thing. So eventually moved on. Ice came then eventually, and at the same time the whole jingles thing was starting to happen for me. So started. Ice came, then I had a bunch of session players on tap because you got Rob Watson, bass player, very good. Aaron Woolley, a sensational guitar player. Peter, Brian Thompson on drums, and a couple of keyboard players in Paul Ewing and Morris. So a bunch of really good musos because I could do stuff and not have to play everything because I'm not that good playing anything. So these guys are fantastic. So we would scoot into the studio pretty much every Friday. I think Mondays was our day off from the band, and I would run around the advertising agencies on that day and get my brief, and then I'd spend Tuesday and Wednesday writing away and then putting it down onto a little 4-track and a cassette tape, then slam into the studios and into the back to the agencies and play them their demo tape. And then the following week we'd lined up and had a bit of a sausage factory going. Churn them out on the Friday and go into Soundwest recording studios. We used to do them with Dave Upson back then. Dave's no longer with us, but it was back then, and it was great. We just churn out. I had my dog, and we take the dog, let the dog sleep in the foyer, and then we'd all musos in there. We just put down all the drum parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks, and then all the guitar parts and where it goes. Then bring in a girl or two to do some vocals with me, and I'd do a bunch of the vocals, and away we go. Then just sausage factory them out.
And that's grown into quite a massive thing.
Yeah. Jingles turn into writing the pictures to go along with it. I got then asked to do that, and then writing the pictures turned into directing the pictures.
Yep.
And then suddenly I had to learn about cameras. I knew a bit about that because I was teaching film and television and stuff like that as part of drama, as well as English and literature. But so then you ended up suddenly on location, and you've got lights and stuff. So you learn, you learn very quickly. Then you're into editing studios, so suddenly you're cutting vision, and then you're art directing and working out the balance of a shot and that sort of stuff. But with the jingle thing, the playing a little bit of everything, but not actually locking into one was a good thing for me. It worked well for me. So when you, if you can understand, when you're writing a soundtrack for a product, or something, if like a soft, to me the way it worked was an augmented chord or a minor chord or a major seventh chord was a pastel. Right? So then you start interpreting that into pictures. So that's a pastel colour and a mauve and things. So an EAB, DGB is a primary colour.
Yes.
So things happen, and that then affects the edit as well. So it's a hard cutting thing or it's a gentle, there's a dissolve from this to this. So the music and the pictures and the words all became a tapestry.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And as a muso, being the experiences that we had with Ice and previous bands and that in Perth, led all that to happen really quite easily. It all fell into place.
Because you also produced bands as well after that, didn't you? At some times, I believe you did the V Capri.
I produced V Capri along with the guys brought over an American, Kevin Beamish. I think his name was. And I think he was involved with RAO Speedwagon and a number of others in that area. And so I came in and did some stuff with the band in there. So produced an album and a bunch of singles and all that. So producing is a passion because I'll do that anyway. When I'm producing myself, making a soundtrack for something or other.
Well, Al's become a producer since then. Al from V Capri.
Right.
So he's
I believe he produces this show.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic.
So the next question he's asked me to ask you
is
let's move sideways a bit.
Go.
No, I won't ask you that one.
You're going to set me up here.
But if you were stranded on a desert island,
yes,
and you knew you could only take one album, well, what album would that be that you would like to listen to that whole time being on your own?
Straight up answer. It's a compilation album, and it's called Music to Watch Girls By.
Okay.
Andy Williams, Frank Sinatra, all of those guys. Music to Watch Girls By. It's one of my faves. I have it on the boat, and it's one of those sit back, relax with the Bloody Mary at sunset and have a listen to that. No Girls on the Desert Island? I'll take that album.
So what was your favourite TV show growing up?
F Troop.
F Troop?
Yeah, undoubtedly. F Troop.
It's amazing how many people say that, on this show.
I got the whole series.
Yeah.
I bought the whole series, bought them in VHS, still got the tapes, all racked up.
Yeah, and so what unfulfilled ambitions do you have? Are there any? Have you sort of completed what you set out to do in the music industry? And
no, back in the early days, I can't remember if I was still teaching, it was just the early days of Ice. John Goldsmith and I got together years ago, and John and I went out to Pierce Air Base. Back then, he'll probably remember, I think you're going to be doing a session with John at some stage.
John actually became a pilot as well.
Correct. So John took me out there, and we were both interested in planes. I think he was flying at that stage anyway, and then I learnt to fly after that. So we had this history going way back. He kind of got me started in that. We had a great day out there. And then, I went to Jandakot and got a pilot's licence. And because once I left music, and then the whole jingle thing turning into pictures thing, then I was actually making a whole series of BP television commercials around the state. So I had to get from A to B there. And in those days, SkyWest Airlines, for the servicing regional WA, only they didn't do a milk run. You could go from Perth to Kalgoorlie and back again, Perth to Albany, back again, Perth to somewhere else, back again. Where really I just need to do a figure 8 around the state and dot, join the dots, and over we go. So it kind of made sense. I had a passion for flying anyway, and this is a tax-deductible way of doing it, and was able to do it. Yeah, so I did that, and I had a couple of airplanes over the time. Yeah. But to answer your question, I've never flown a jet.
Wow.
I'd love to fly a jet.
Yeah.
That's something I might talk to Goldsmith about and see if he can't organise something for me.
Yeah. I think you've got to train for quite some time, don't you?
I think jets would be quite a handful. I'd fly a turboprop and a piston engine
Yep.
aircraft, but never a jet. So that's something I'd like to do. I've jumped out of airplanes, I've done a couple of parachute drops and that sort of thing, but never
I just
find
can't do
something
that.
really.
I like to stay on the ground. So, do you collect anything, Greg?
Frequent flyer points.
Frequent flyer points. Yes.
Lots of those.
Because you're with your business now, being
'Cause I
in
travel.
Langkawi and Singapore.
Yeah. A lot of travelling. I'm spending these days. I'm spending about 2 weeks in Perth and 2 weeks overseas. So, and that's bouncing between Singapore, Langkawi, and Phuket, pretty much. And I got my boat up there, and I live on that, and I cruise up and down the places. But I've got business up there as well. Over the years, I've done work for Coke in Singapore, Samsung out of Korea, Carlsberg Beer up in Vietnam,
Wow.
and a bunch of others. And in Perth, I'm still doing Toyota, obviously, and a handful of others over the years. BP, John Deere, Caltex, that sort of stuff. So it's all corporate advertising, not so much retail.
Do you spend more time in Langkawi? Because I've been there once. Beautiful place.
It works out about 2 months in Singapore, 5 in Langkawi, and 5 in Phuket.
Perfect. Beautiful.
I'll be going back to Thailand in a couple of days' time.
So Perth, 2 months of the year? That's it? Or?
No, every 2 weeks. But it's working out on average about 7 months of the year I'm away.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time here.
Oh, very exciting life.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Part of the plan.
What? This is probably a crazy question, but what would you put on your gravestone?
It was good. I don't believe I'm coming back as a butterfly. I think life is one chance at it and one shot at it. So there's a whole bunch of boxes that I've wanted to tick, and I've probably not even halfway through what I want to tick. But there's lots to do and lots to experience. So I want to be at that point where I'm on the gravestone to put me in the ground and be able to look back and say it was good.
Yeah.
I did it all. It was great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have another chance. So now's the time.
And last question, but not least, is there something that we don't know about you that you could tell us that you haven't really told anyone before? Something nobody knows. Do you collect little soldiers or no? Or
No. That question was never on the list. I haven't had a chance to think about that. It's something that nobody knows. When I was a little kid, I had a pram.
Yep. Oh, okay.
If that means anything.
No, okay, I just got
I
it.
grew up with another little girl, and there was a role reversal going on, so my mum and dad tell me. And I wanted the pram, and I would beat up this little girl for the pram. I think it was a forerunner to Jaguars, really. I think it was the 4 wheels and the pram.
Yeah. I
really wanted the car, and she could have the doll. I'm not interested in the doll. I wanted the pram.
Thanks for being a good sport with that, mate. Look, that's about it. Look, thanks very much for coming in. Really appreciate getting a bit of an insight into your life and your career. And as a Perth musician, we've always looked up to you as well. And thanks for your contribution.
Thank you. Cheers,
mate.
It's been a great night. Thank you.
That's all for tonight. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Take a breath, can you see in the dark?